What is happening, guys? Happy Sunday and welcome to the Dynasty Warzone, the People's Dynasty podcast. On this week's show, we're going to try to decide which of these young players are Dynasty hype or are they going to be a Dynasty hit. And a man that's always been a hit with me is none other than my co-host. You know him better as the man of the hour and the man with the power, Jerry Sinclair. Buddy, what's going on?
Randall, we are on the precipice of football, my friend. We are a mere 5 days away from the Mean Green killing machine hitting the gridiron against Florida Atlantic. We watched Florida State, Georgia Tech yesterday in Dublin. Most of my redraft leagues are either ongoing or they are done. And by most, I mean I'm only in two. I think I said I was in one last week, but I forgot my buddy started one. I wasn't going to say no because I'm a degenerate and I love this shit. So it's going good, man. It's exciting. We are finally getting to the part of the year that is absolutely beautiful every single day of the week. Sometimes it's waiver wires. Sometimes it's watching football. Sometimes it's trading. Whatever it is, it's all football, and it is just glorious. The weather did not keep up with it today. It was 104 here.
I was going to ask you because you're wearing a hoodie.
Well, Nicole keeps it at a crisp 67. So, you know, I mean,
I don't see the problem. It's what it is in our house. And I'm in the basement, where it's the coldest.
I mean, I'm a 70 guy, 70, 72, but that's also the bill that I got to take care of. So maybe that's why I'm about that. But either way, it's comfy. You know, got this at your old stomping grounds, Dick's Sporting Goods, which means, you know, I had to take out a mortgage to afford it. But
I mean, listen, you have good taste. You have Under Armour on. It's a fine brand.
Actually, my work got me a gift card. So that's why I used it. Otherwise, I would never. I don't buy clothes for myself. I know we're getting into the nonsense a little early, but I'm an old man. I have T-shirts that are older than some of the employees I work with.
What is it about guys and stuff like that? Like, just like you won't let go of T-shirts. Like the other day, I was looking for a T-shirt and I found a T-shirt that I haven't seen in probably 10, 12 years. And I was like, why do I own this? So you work in a bar. You guys host UFC. Now, did you watch UFC so long ago that you remember Affliction? And the Affliction brand.
Oh, yeah.
I found a Randy Couture Affliction shirt in my closet when I was looking. I was like, why do I even have this? I would never wear this. It was a cool shirt at the time.
Right.
At the time, it was very cool. You know, actually, somewhere around here in the basement, like I have Bo Jackson behind me because we love Bo Jackson. Yeah. I've actually got an autographed Chuck Liddell Affliction T-shirt.
I remember that from the earliest stages of the YouTube on our podcast.
Maybe I can scrape that out.
It used to be your background.
You know, I'll see if I can scrape that out. Yeah, my wife and I met Chuck Liddell in the Las Vegas airport years and years and years ago. Like, you know, long before the UFC was flying people.
Were you just wearing the shirt?
No, I had worn it because we went to Vegas for a UFC. So if you're going,
got it.
He wasn't fighting because you know the rule. You never wear the shirt of the band you're going to see to the band you're going to see. So I could wear a Chuck Liddell shirt because he wasn't fighting. And it happened to be a white Affliction shirt. His signature shirt was a white one. So he signed the back of it. And then one day my wife got a frame for me. And that's a different story for a different day. But I do want to ask you some football related questions.
Of course.
Kind of a three-way, kind of a news segment, if you will.
Hey,
Jamar Chase reported to camp, had been holding out, wanted the new contract. I will say this, the Browns, the family that own, not the Browns, as in the football team, but the Browns who own, as in like Mike Brown, who own the Bengals, this guy has never like caved on negotiations. And I know a lot of other wide receivers got the super early mega deal, but I think this is great for Dynasty. Because this is the point, right? This is the point of no return for me personally. Because the other two guys I have listed, that's parts 2 and 3 of this 3-parter. Still no CeeDee Lamb, still no Brandon Ayuk. What do you take away from this bit of news that Chase is reporting and the other two are not?
I mean, I don't know, because there's been rumors about CeeDee Lamb saying that the talks are going okay, which is fine. You know, I don't really care to get super into that stuff, in truth. I think it'll all shake out. Like, I don't think there's a chance CeeDee Lamb doesn't sign with the Cowboys. I don't think there's a chance that Jamar Chase doesn't sign with Cincinnati. And I think this Brandon Ayuk stuff, I think if there was a point that I was convinced he was going somewhere, I think that time has passed. I think if that was actually on the table, we would have already seen it. And clearly there's a difference that one of the organizations is just not agreeing with the other on. So it seems like he's going to be there. And if he's not, I'm guessing it's probably going to be worse off for him, and I'll probably not like the move wherever Brandon Ayuk goes. And as far as CeeDee Lamb and Jamar Chase, I think they're both awesome. I think they're both good, and I think they both should stay exactly where they're at because I like stable assets, and they are hooked to young-ish good quarterbacks, which I'll take.
For me, it's just the immediate of this future season. You know, just the potential to get hurt is always amplified. We need to get our old buddy, Dr. Kyle. He's a doctor of physical therapy. He works. I'm not going to give his personal Instagram handle. He may not want the Warzone or PlayerProfiler people stalking him, but, you know, he works with professional athletes in New York. And he and I have had this conversation. I need to see if he can either do like an opinion video. Maybe we'll drop that in next week or something like that. It just makes me nervous that from the injury standpoint, could we lose him to a hamstring 6-8 weeks? It definitely potentially there. But there was a wide receiver trade. A former first-round wide receiver was traded, and now there's speculation that could open up a home for Brandon Ayuk. Jahan Dotson moved to the Eagles. I'll just go ahead and answer this one. This absolutely, his dynasty value cratered. That large thud that you heard, that wasn't 8 pounds of monkey crap hitting the wall. That was Jahan Dotson's fantasy value in Dynasty hitting the floor. Absolutely hurts him to no end. But I will ask you this, a two-parter, okay? A, does that make Washington a viable option for Brandon Ayuk, given his relationship with Jaden Daniels and the fact that a team with a rookie quarterback can afford a $30 million wide receiver, if not two? And we've already seen another organization in Houston want to give their rookie, or I guess quarterback on a rookie deal in CJ Stroud, all the weapons he can handle. So why not stack Terry McLaurin and Brandon Ayuk? And so what do you think about that rumor, and what do you think about Jahan Dotson? And I know it doesn't help or really hurt A.J. Brown or Devonta Smith, but does it help Jalen Hurts a little bit to have a third wide receiver out there?
I mean, it definitely helps Jalen Hurts. Not a ton. He's still going to be good no matter what. But if Jahan Dotson has shown anything, it's that he can at least catch touchdowns. He's never really been super reliable. He's never gotten you tons of production. He's been a little flash in the pan that intrigues you and makes you interested. And then every time you've pulled the trigger on him, he's disappointed you every time he's gone in your lineup. I mean, it's fine for him. What did you call it? 8 pounds of monkey crap. I mean, it's 8 pounds of monkey crap, man.
It's brutal. And we got Mike in the chat says Daniels to Ayuk. Get used to hearing it. I think it's real. I think it's more real than ever, just given those two factors. And speaking of A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, we've seen two wide receivers flourish with a mobile running quarterback. Completely possible. I don't love it. I want Terry McLaurin to get like 200 targets this year because I'm a long-standing Terry McLaurin fan. I actually went through the other day, and it's that time of the year where you're going through every dynasty roster you have. Just clean it up. You know, I had to get a bunch of leagues under whatever the roster limits were. I'll tell you, Russ, Dynasty Outhouse, he's amazing. He sends out a message in our league that says, hey, either get to 32 or I'll just start cutting randomly from your roster. I like a good strong-nosed commissioner. All right, one last sample, and a guy that is the epitome of tonight's topic, dynasty hype or dynasty hit. A guy that's just all sizzle and no steak, or a guy that's going to hit and stick and be a dynasty pillar on your roster. Trey Lance, 5. Like, remember LeBron when he went to Miami? Not
Not
one, not
one, not
two,
two.
not three, not four, but five. 5 interceptions for Trey Lance in Dallas's final preseason game. I think it's safe to say that the Trey Lance experiment's over, Jerry.
Agree. What's funny is that I didn't watch that game because obviously I didn't watch that game, but I saw that he had like a long scrambling touchdown, and then it showed up like with all the passing yards he had at the time, and I was like, oh shit! I'm like, okay, Trey Lance, and so then the same thing I do with every preseason week. At the end of the preseason, I go through every box score just so I can see something, see if anything sort of tickles me where where it feels good. And I looked and I saw the 5 picks and I was like, okay, never mind. That was fool's gold if I have ever seen fool's gold.
Yeah, I don't know what I was doing last night. Oh, it was a friend of mine's going away party. He's moving to South Africa, of all places. And I saw on Twitter that Trey Lance was trending. And I thought the opposite. I was like, oh, he must have had a game.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he did.
Oh, he had a game.
But it wasn't a good game. But I'll tell you what is good. We'll go to something that is good. Trey Lance, not very good. What is good? Smash Up Sports.
Oh, it's the Podfather, and last year's fastest growing fantasy platform is back. It's Smash Up Fantasy. They've got these leagues where you redraft your team every week and you get smarter as the season progresses. Now, Smash Up also has a patented power-up card. These are actual cards that can boost your individual players or your entire team. So if you think Lamar Jackson's going to run wild all over the Kansas City Chiefs in week 1, play the Scramble Spikes Smash Up card to turbocharge his rushing points. And that's not all. Smash Up also is introducing the world's first single-player fantasy game. Think Street Fighter meets fantasy football, where you can go toe-to-toe versus an increasingly difficult fantasy football boss and qualify for the postseason tournament of champions. So test your skills against me, the Podfather, and the Player Profiler team today at smashupsports.com and use code PlayerProfiler. The code is Player Profiler to get special perks like extra lineups for these weekly tournaments and so much more. And it's all free at smashupsports.com.
Free's a great price to pay for anything, Jerry.
Ain't that the truth?
You know, to me, it kind of like, you look at the commercial, it kind of like a Pokemon feel to it.
A little bit.
I've never a Pokemon guy. Too old for the Pokemon. But what I've never been too old for is good people, bad tweets, Jerry. And this one's a fun one. This one's like the ones we've had recently have been like real dumbass level,
Piss you off. Yeah.
Aggravating. It's just like what engagement. You're either stupid or you're engagement farming. I always hope and lean toward engagement farming, but you never know. This one was a fun one because it's one of the better guys in the fantasy industry, and it's Dave Richard from CBS Sports. He's a fun guy. Show that used to be on our network, the Fantasy Football Fellas, and they had their own network, Kyle and Seth. Back in the day, Dave was a guest on the show. Good guy. Couldn't have been more, I think I was on that one for some reason, but I just remember interacting with Dave. So last Saturday, the 17th, he tweets out, Aiden O'Connell, welcome to the starting lineup. And literally less than 24 hours later, the Raiders named Gardner, the mustache Minshew, as the starter. I thought that was hilarious. It was the timing of it. I get where the battle was down to those two, but I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, I mean, that's a swing and a miss. I'm not going to hate him for it. I was sort of rooting for Aiden O'Connell in that battle too. Gardner Minshew's just never done it for me.
As a Colts fan, he did it for me. I think Gardner Minshew is literally, and this hurts to say, he's Sam Darnold with more swag. He's Sam Darnold with a mullet, a porn stash, and a Trans Am. Actually, I think it's a panel van that he cruises the country in the offseason, and God bless him. But what those guys have in common is they're good enough to give you probably 3-4 starts. But all defensive coordinators, this is my big apprehension with Sam Darnold, by the way, all a defensive coordinator really needs to see is you in whatever new offense he's in for 3 to 5 weeks. If Gardner Minshew starts the season, he's going to be in this Luke Getsy offense. and then we're going to look by about Halloween, it's going to be bad. So I just thought this was fun. Dave's a great guy. This is what happens when you're in the content business, and we're going to do good. We're going to do our hot take episode next week, our hottest takes. But this is what happens when you're in the take business, Jerry. Sometimes you get fooled.
Yeah, I mean, Hakeem Butler just got cut. Been there.
You know, I tagged you in that.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. I know, you bully.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Podfather gave Hakeem Butler the best nickname ever. You remember what that was?
Hakeem Bustler.
Hakeem Bustler. It was fantastic. That was one of Jerry's. I don't know. It had to have been 5 years ago?
Yeah,
I mean, maybe our second
maybe
or
longer.
third, maybe our second or third like season together. And you were big on Bustler, and I think it's because you have ties to the Midwest, and it got the best of you. So I just thought this one was fun. They're not always bad. So we have a light Dana White for Dave because we like Dave.
Weird, huh? Holy shit! What the hell was that all about?
There you go. Little Dana White for Dave Richard of CBS Sports. He is a good one. All right, Jerry, let's get into some of these guys. And I just picked these guys. I went through all the news aggregates, the Dov, is it Klingman, whatever. Yeah. I went through all of those. And I just went through like the last few weeks, like scrolled back, and I was like, who's getting the hype? And some guys I just added on my own. And I didn't have this guy on the list, but I love me some Twitter, X. And tonight, Spencer Rattler with an absolutely beautiful throw. And I will say Spencer Rattler has had a very, very good preseason. What are your thoughts on Spencer Rattler as we enter in this final weekend of preseason games?
Yeah, I'm good on that. That man has had every single opportunity to do everything he ever wanted to do. He was at Oklahoma with Lincoln Riley, and Lincoln Riley has made every quarterback he's ever had look absolutely awesome, except for Spencer Rattler. And then Spencer Rattler goes to South Carolina and just never really turns it on either. So I'm glad he can shit on third string guys in the third preseason game, but I'll let him chill in free agency. I'm good.
So I want to give a shout out. So we're gonna finish the talking about Spencer Rattler, but we got breaking news in the middle of the podcast. Thank you to the chat. We're gonna have breaking news here in just a second. I'm kind of in on Spencer Rattler, and it's not
because he's free.
That's
you actually like him.
Okay. If we'd have told you, what was it, 3 years ago, that Brock Purdy looked good in preseason, he was in an offense that we like, and so what would you have said to me going into Brock Purdy's rookie year? Would you have said the same thing you just said about Spencer Rattler? Hey, I liked him at Iowa State. Hey, he seems like just a guy. Hey, there's all these reasons not to like him. But how much did Brock Purdy cost at the time of his rookie year? 3 years ago, I believe.
He cost nothing,
and that's why I like Spencer Rattler.
Which is fair. Also, just confirming that Adam Scheffler did tweet that about
Adam Scheffler? Is he related to Adam Schefter?
Schefter, piss off, you wanker. Yeah, no,
that's live. It's a live show.
I mean, that was a good hit. Bop. Oh, yeah. No, his shoulder might be screwed up pretty good. We might be looking at Drake May real quick and in a hurry. Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, Jerry ruined it. I was looking on my phone to see if I could find a breaking news sound. Like, I'm in on Spencer Rattler.
Luckily, you don't have to do that little jingle again.
If you can get Spencer Rattler cheap, I would do it. The reason why teams go to quarterbacks like Spencer Rattler is because they're over the starter. If Derek Carr gets Russell Wilson this year, I will be 0% surprised.
I mean, that's fair.
And I'm not saying that Spencer Rattler has Bo Nix's runway. I'm just saying that when a team has a veteran quarterback, and Andy Dalton has been this guy, and so many others before it. You have this old blocker, not lineman, but just like he's blocking the path of the young guy. And when that guy is bad and the team is bad and the team falls out of playoff contention, they want to see what they got with Rattler. And he's a lottery ticket. It's complete boom or bust. But I want to get him right now. I'm not going to make any offers right now, especially like tonight, because tonight he looked really good. I'm going to wait till like week 2. Hopefully Derek Carr has a good game, and I'm just going to bide my time. Maybe I can get him for my RB5 or 6 or something. Some running back gets hurt, and I can be like, hey, I'll give you so-and-so for Spencer Rattler. Tyrone Tracy or is it Tyrone Tracy?
Yeah.
I'll give you him for Spencer Rattler. I don't think either one of them are going to mount to a hill of beans, but that's okay. All right, let's get to the news. Per Go-Go Gin, by way of Adam Schefter, as opposed to Adam Scheffler, who's not related to Scotty Scheffler, who plays golf, but Adam Schefter, per Adam Schefter, Jacoby Brissett has a right shoulder injury. Jerry, a right shoulder injury does not sound good for a right-handed quarterback. Thoughts?
I just saw the video. His shoulder is probably screwed up. I'm going to be honest with you. It reminds me of Matthew Stafford against Cleveland, that video where he's mic'd up and he goes down and he's like, no, I could throw it if you need me to. And it was like the first Lions win in like 25 games or something. God, he just had such a big sack that day. But that's sort of what it looks like. It looks like we may be looking at a collarbone or something, which means we get Drake May, buddy. So,
well,
he's ready.
He's not ready. You know, here's the thing about Drake. Here's the thing about Drake May is obviously I didn't do any research on this, so I'm kind of filibustering as I pull up his college stats. But Drake May was a 2-year starter in college, and he did it at a Power 5. All the reasons why I like Drake May are the same reasons I like Josh Allen and the same reasons I liked Justin Herbert. Big guys, athletic guys, good arm, and especially with Justin Herbert playing in that system. And if you go to Player Profiler, Jerry, what are we streaming this on right now? What YouTube channel?
Player Profiler.
So why wouldn't you go to Player Profiler right now? Throw in Drake May, his most comparable, Josh Allen. So he's a guy that I love. I've been on him, and I'm looking. Yes, he started 14 games in 2022, and he started 12 games in 2023. 26 college starts is a pretty good sample. You know, you get a guy like Mitch Trubisky who had 1 college year, kind of fooled some people, and not so good. I think this kid's good. My concern is that they don't have the weapons around him. Like we mentioned earlier about Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, maybe they'll go out and get him, you know, Brandon Ayuk. We talked about what the Texans have done for CJ Stroud. They don't have that in New England, so could be rough. I think he could actually see a lot of rushing this year.
Drake May, I could see it.
He had 700 yards he had 700 yards rushing in 2022 in college.
Yeah, it was just last year he didn't rush for shit. But
450
yeah.
to be fair. That's not bad.
Did he? I actually thought he did less than that. But
it's about just over, not quite 40 yards a game.
I mean, they also didn't have Michael Carter and Javonte Williams that year, so it makes it a little easier when everybody can focus on them. That was they had all 3 of those guys rushing all that. I missed out in watching North Carolina apparently. But no,
you live in bumfuck Iowa. Of course you don't.
Hey, we got running backs out here. Brees Hall, David Montgomery. Come on,
Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy.
This is twice on this podcast you've disrespected the good name of Brock Purdy.
I mean, Hakeem Butler went to Iowa State too, but
I tell you, he's an impromptu ad for me. Drake May is going to be a dynasty hit. Here's the thing. This is what I love about football and the NFL in general. I think we all either somewhat like or really like Caleb Williams, right?
Fair.
I'm not on Jaden Daniels, but I know a lot of people are, including our buddy, the Podfather, Theo, etc. He is. I like Drake May. I like Bo Nix. I'm not a huge fan of JJ McCarthy. And now all of a sudden we have 5 quarterbacks, and we know that 2 to 3 of them are going to bust. It's like you can see the best case scenario for all these guys and the worst case scenario for all these guys.
We're gonna get a good look at which one it is likely to be over the next 7 weeks, I would say.
Let me ask you a question.
Because if Drake May ends up starting, plus Jaden Daniels is starting, plus Caleb Williams is starting, plus JJ McCarthy is hurt, I mean, that's going to knock him. Sorry. Like, I don't want to.
Let me ask you a question real quick. Now, this is a Yeti ball cap, not a tinfoil hat. But do you think this is like a pro wrestling style work where the front office and ownership group of the Patriots said, look, we got to get Drake May out there. But we've already announced Jacoby's the starter. Hey, Jacoby, can you go out and sell a shoulder? And, we'll give you an extra, shoebox full of cash or something.
That is a tinfoil hat, sir. Because here's the thing. Even if Jacoby Brissett, even if none of that happens, and this was all realistic, Jacoby Brissett was not going to win. Not with the Patriots. That roster is not good. Plus, he's fine. Like, he deserves to wear a jersey, and he should get paid by an NFL team. But, like, he's not going to be awesome. So, I mean, that team was going to poop their pants at some point. And at some point, if you got a team that drafted Drake May at 3 overall, I think, I mean, there was going to be calls to put him in. There's
only 1 of 3 ways that drafting a rookie quarterback should go. You draft a rookie quarterback, your team's bad, YOLO, get him out there, let him get the reps. You weren't going to go to the playoffs anyway. So throw him out there, see what you got. That's one. The other one is that you're a middling team, and I'll use this year's Vikings as the answer. You brought in the veteran in the offseason. It worked out to where you got a quarterback in that 10 range for the future, and you let the veteran start until you're like, you no longer feel like you can compete for the playoffs. Then you YOLO the guy for the last 8, 10, 6 games, whatever it is, to see what you got. And then the final one is the Patrick Mahomes, where you got a really good team, you got a really good coach, and you got a good veteran quarterback in front of you, like Alex Smith was for Patrick Mahomes. That guy can learn from the veteran, see what it's like to be a pro. I don't think there's a right or a wrong way to go, but I think they're doing the right thing by using this as the reason to play Drake May. But I want to keep going. We have more hype or more hits. Now, here's a guy that we were both bearish on. We were not bullish on Brian Thomas. But for all intents and purposes, he has had a very good training camp and had a couple of highlights in some preseason games. Has your DJ Chark comparison, have you softened at all around Brian Thomas?
Absolutely. Like, I'm not ready to throw him sort of where he was going in rookie drafts, but I am sort of excited for him, and I'm a little upset that I hated him so much. Not hated, but didn't draft him so much that I don't have tons of exposure to him across my rosters. But I am intrigued, Randall. I will give you that. And he has the opportunity to be the guy there. So, I mean, if he's Olave, I'm going to be disappointed, though, because Olave has disappointed, and we're going to talk later about him. But no, Brian Thomas Jr., I'm excited. I am. And I know I was not for a chunk of this offseason, and I called him DJ Chark, and I called him, what was the other LSU guy who ran fast? Terrace Marshall. I was a hateful bastard. I've called you a hateful bastard the last 2 podcasts. I have been a hateful bastard about Brian Thomas. But yeah, I mean, my tune is changing a little bit.
This is why the Dynasty Warzone has been around as long as it has. You know, in Dynasty and Fantasy, like, if you have a change of opinion on a guy, you're called a flip-flopper. But I borrowed this philosophy from Chael Sonnen before we started Wisdom and Knowledge. But he said, if I'm the perfect guy to argue with, because if you confront me with fact-based, compelling arguments to support your case, then I will change my mind. I've never heard. I've heard better advice, but I've not heard much better advice. That is good advice. That is not just fantasy football advice. That is life advice. If you're dug in on a stance on something, and someone presents evidence to the contrary, you have to agree to change your mind. And that's kind of how I am on Brian Thomas. I agree with you. I'm not getting super hyped. I've seen wide receivers that I was out on have good preseasons. I'm looking at you, Traylon Burks, and to turn around and then absolutely crap the bed, and absolutely crap the bed when the reps got live. But and I found this because the internet's great for so many reasons. Jacob Gibbs at J.A. Gibbs, and on August 24th, that was yesterday, Jacob tweeted every Brian Thomas Jr. preseason route. It's 6 minutes and 22 seconds. And you watch this guy, and I see Jerry going for his phone so he can go find this tweet. Again, Jacob Gibbs at J.A. Gibbs. See, this is when someone tweets something good, we're going to give you a good shout out. Not always a bunch of haters, but check out his tweet and you can see for yourself. This guy's doing it with Trevor Lawrence. He's doing it with whoever the backup is there. Really impressive guy. If we would have done this show during our rookie drafts, Jerry, he would have 100% been on my hype list. But now that I've been presented with the training camp footage, the preseason game footage, I have to say that I think this guy's probably going to be a hit because he's only competing with Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram, and I love Evan Ingram.
I love Evan Ingram too, but I don't love Christian Kirk, which is why I am sort of pivoting towards Brian Thomas Jr. as well. Because while Christian Kirk certainly got the bag, we've seen 6 years of Christian Kirk and one season over 1,000 yards.
He got a bag, but if you go back, the bag he got now versus the bags guys are getting now, two different bags.
Yeah.
Two different bags. So I mean, what's he make? 14 million? 15 million? When Hunter Renfrow got cut, Hunter Renfrow was making 15 million a year. I mean, it's a lot of 15 million is a lot of money. Period. End of statement. 15 million is a lot of money. But it's not for NFL wide receivers, especially high-end ones. So the barrier to entry for Brian Thomas to be really, really good is a small one. Again, Evan Ingram, he's going to vacuum up targets. I think we both agree he's probably going to be in that 140 to 150 targets. But outside of that, they're going to throw the ball 600 times. It's like 450, 500 targets out there just chilling. And as much as I like Ingram and some people like Kirk, there's plenty left over. I think he's going to be a hit. You got the draft capital. They need him to be a hit because they just gave Trevor, speaking of bags, they just gave Trevor Lawrence one of the largest ones in NFL history. So we talked about this earlier about when your quarterback's on a rookie deal, you can have premium expensive wide receivers. This is the opposite. When your quarterback's making the huge bag, you need the stud rookie wide receiver on a rookie deal, Jerry.
True. Nope.
So those are all my cases for him to be a hit. So we'll do one more, then we'll take our second break because he's also a wide receiver and he's pictured on the thumbnail of this podcast. Shout out Brittany. What's up, Britt? We love you. Xavier Worthy kind of started off camp a little bit not good, where I think it was press coverage and someone knocked him on his ass, bumped him ass over tea kettle, and people are like, oh, 165-pound guy can't flourish in the NFL. And then in the joint practices and in the preseason games, Mahomes, hit him with a touchdown. Jerry, are we too low on Xavier Worthy, or are you still where you were?
I'm still where I am in the sense that I don't think he is going to be the heartbeat of that offense. And I know it's going to be Travis Kelce and stuff, but I think I think Andy Reid will take a few shots at Xavier Worthy every single game. Sort of like Deshaun Jackson, back 10, 12 years ago, whenever that was, where sometimes he'll be the absolute best wide receiver in the NFL, and other times you won't know that he's even playing that week. from everything I saw in the preseason, Rashee Rice is the guy that's going to accumulate all of the targets. And I don't have tons of Rashee Rice, so that sort of sucks for me, selfishly. But it seems like that's going to be the guy that just accumulates tons and tons of catches. And once defenses start to look at Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce and then Pacheco running the ball, and they start to pull in a little bit, take a couple shots to Xavier because he can get open. And he's got the opportunity to hit you for 50 yards and a tutty, which is good enough. So that's all you need. You really just need to hit one of those to make him worth your while. So I think he's probably a little bit better than I thought he was going to be, but I still don't think he is worth all of the hype that this universe gave to him.
I would agree. I believe he's talented. He is the kind of guy that will win you a week or probably give you a goose egg. Yep. And I have been pro Rashee Rice all off season. Good football player, does dumb stuff. Maybe he gets suspended. But here's the thing. The NFL handed out like 5 suspensions last week, 5 or 6.
Yeah.
They were like, they were like Oprah Winfrey. You get a suspension and you get a suspension. And Rashee Rice missed that suspension list. So I think he avoids it until at least next year. And what are we always chasing? We're chasing volume. And that's where I believe Rashee Rice, whatever you want to do. I think the guy's an absolute steal. You know, we're coming up on the 2 biggest redraft weekends of the season. You have this coming weekend, the weekend that we're in, and then you have next weekend, which is Labor Day weekend, and then that final Saturday, which I know it's hard, but there are leagues that will still draft on that Saturday after the first Thursday night game. As weird as it is to say, we're not those guys. But if you have a draft either this coming week or that weird Saturday the 8th, you may want to check out our draft kit.
Hey, it's the Podfather. I have great news. The draft kit is live. It is world famous. Why? Because it is the best resource for winning fantasy football championships that exists. There are rankings and cheat sheets for every format you can imagine. We have projections both at the team level and the player level. And wherever you are, you can click on a player, open them up, and see in-depth written analysis about what to expect in fantasy football from that player this year. And then you can click on the team, and you can get even more in-depth analysis, all the drivers of fantasy production, both in a positive and negative direction for that team, including a signature trend. And the graphics are incredible. So these team insights, they give you the team-level projections, the vacated targets, the vacated ARs. And we added a bunch of features. I mean, individual cheat sheets for Theo and Billy and Dario. So you could take your favorite analyst and download their personal draft cheat sheet. And then in the commissioners section, Memphis Young lays out everything you need to know to manage a league. The best minds in the industry contributing analysis. It's certainly not the most inexpensive draft kit on the market, but it is the best. PlayerProfiler.com/draft kit. PlayerProfiler.com/draft kit. Go get it.
Yes, indeed. Go get the draft kit. You've got 2 weeks-ish to take advantage of the draft kit. One of my favorite things to contribute to every single year. Jerry, let's knock out a few more of these guys. The Drake May impromptu run-in. You know, he ran in and stole the show. Where are you at with Zamir White? Clearly the starter, looks to be the entrenched starter for the Las Vegas Raiders. Are you in or out on Zamir White?
I am in for his 1-year short-term value. I am not in that he is going to be a person that you are relying on. So if you need a borderline championship level RB3, maybe you got 2 flexes and you want to have somebody that you can plug in, or at least somebody that's rotational, by all means, Zamir White running back for the Las Vegas Raiders. But if you think this man is just going to emerge as he shared the rock at Georgia, then he was a 4th-round pick, and then he's been fine since he's been in the league. I mean, I don't think he's going to change your roster. If you have to plug him in as your RB2 or something in a playoff game, like, you're losing at that position. So I think he's a hit for what he is, Randy. If you're a contender and you need to chase some points and you don't mind, him dying on your roster and turning to dust and you not caring about it, by all means. But if you're in any other situation, I would wait until he has those weeks, and you need to exploit the people that need running backs when one gets hurt or they're trying to, upgrade so they can win a championship. Exploit the hell out of them. Send him Zamir, send him a second, try to get back a first. If that doesn't work, do whatever you have to manipulate the situation, but not long for the league, so not long for my team.
I like Zamir White as a concept for the same reason I like Isaiah Pacheco. The difference is Isaiah Pacheco is tied to one of the best offenses in the NFL, and the Raiders' offense is going to be dreadful. Dreadful. I will say that if you're in a quarter point, we're in a league like this together, if you're in a quarter point per carry league, I think Zamir White's going to have good games. He's like the quintessential RB3/flex guy. He's going to get you 10, 12 PPR points a game. He's never going to give you a dud or a goose egg. He just doesn't have the upside to give you like a 30-point banger. So he's the kind of guy that I'm in on now so I can be out on him later. I have a lot of Zamir White, and that is August 25th, 2024. By about Halloween, my exposure to Zamir White will be significantly less than it is now. I think he could be a long-term hit if he was more of a pass catcher. Now, he's caught some passes, and it's not like he's, inept in that area. But just a guy that I won't have a lot of because he doesn't have that profile. And what's the profile I want? Same reason I like Jahmyr Gibbs, because I think he can be, and I'm not trying to compare Zamir White to Jahmyr Gibbs. That's not fair to Zamir White. But my point is that I like guys that are tied to the passing game. And I just don't think he will be. He's a plotter who will maybe score occasional touchdowns. And there you go, Jerry. Anything else on Zamir White?
Nah, he's going to be boring as hell. But he'll be effective enough for your teams.
All right, one more running back. Let's talk Tajay Spears. Couple of sizzle reels this offseason. I think he scored a touchdown in their preseason game the other night. And what are your thoughts on Tajay Spears? Are you team Tajay or are you team Tony Pollard?
I am team Tony Pollard, and that's hilarious because I have been so anti-Tony Pollard his entire existence in the NFL so far. It's not that I don't believe in Tajay Spears. I just think Tony Pollard's probably better. I think the problem with Tony Pollard is that Zeke left, and he became the sole running back for the Cowboys, and we expected him to set the effing world on fire, and he didn't. But he wasn't bad. And I don't think he gets credit enough for just being good because we thought the Cowboys running back and he was this dynamic prospect who could do explosive plays and was great in the passing game and he was going to set the world on fire. And he didn't, which is fine. But I think he's going to be a little bit better in that situation. But also, if he isn't, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Like, I know that's sort of like a lazy cop-out take where I say, I like this guy, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was shit. But I wouldn't be surprised if either of these guys were any good at all, if either of them were bad, or if any of them were good. I honestly, that's a situation. That's why I sort of avoid the whole Will Levis thing. It's not that I think Will Levis is the fucking worst quarterback that the league has ever had. I literally cannot predict anything that is going to happen with that offense. Like, I really can't. Like, any outcome would not surprise me. This is like the multiverse. In every single different universe, every single possibility can occur. I think every single possibility can occur in this universe.
Well, that little chuckle in Jerry's voice that it was a little something special for the YouTube audience, because that gave Jerry not one but two fingers. I was not telling him he was number 11 for those keeping score at home. Tony Pollard, 5 carries for 17 yards, 1 catch for 13 yards, 1 touchdown on the opening drive for the Titans tonight. The first 10 plays, the running back with the starters, Tony Pollard.
That's 10 points on one drive.
That is 10 PPR. Check out the big brain on Jerry, hitting you with math. Love it. That is how a fantasy gamer's mind works, by the way, guys. And I got to be honest, I'm actually somewhat embarrassed that I did not do the math that quickly and say, oh yeah, that's how many? 10 flat PPR points. Check out Jerry, man. I'm really proud of you right now. It's good stuff. Yeah, I've
It's
not
because
been.
this game is a drug, and I just need the drug.
Jerry's like over here smacking his arm. He needs a fix. Tajay Spears fits the mold of what I like in a running back. He's on a rookie contract on a team that needs cheap players. You know, they have a lot of money wrapped up in Ridley and Hopkins, and you know they could use.
What's Pollard's contract?
Well, you have all of the questions ever able to be answered on your laptop, Jerry.
That's true. And I'll just go right to playerprofiler.com here.
Because they have it on player.
3 years, 21 million. Okay. I was going to say that.
It's a Miles Sanders contract.
Yeah.
More like mild Sanders. See what I did there? Mild Sanders.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't guarantee that Tony Pollard's going to be the guy. He's going to get the shot this year for sure to be the guy, but
see, this is the year though. This is the year. This is why
100%.
I like Zamir White. They let Josh Jacobs walk, just like the Titans let Derrick Henry walk. The difference is the Raiders didn't bring in a Tony Pollard.
Yeah.
Or a Joe Mixon or anywhere else. And that's what sucks, because I want to like Tajay Spears. These are the kind of guys that I like to target. I want to get a running back going into his second year so I can have him years 2, 3, and 4. I can have 3 years of them on their rookie deal, and then I can move on to the next one. I just don't know that he's going to get the opportunity to score the points that I need.
Harry Snowman said, I have more Tony Pollard this year than Jimmy Carter has liver pills. Jesus.
You know, I'm gonna put that on YouTube so people can read that one for themselves. That's a very nuanced quip. I get it, because I know what a liver pill. I've heard this saying before. But I want to move on. I want to hit a couple more, and then we got to do a little nonsense here at the end. And Ladd McConkey showing out in camp. Someone's got to catch them footballs from Justin Herbert. Also returned to camp with his plantar fasciitis foot. Where are you at on Ladd McConkey? Because I'm spoiler alert, I'm in. He's a hit. He's going to hit.
I know.
He's going to crush.
I was the guy who was not in. Yeah, I mean, he's growing on me too. Yeah, it's not like I still don't think he's awesome. I really don't. But somebody's got to catch passes from Justin Herbert, who I do think is awesome. And I think that offense is Jim Harbaugh is going to do good at creating an efficient offense. Even if it's not explosive, it will still be boringly efficient, just like it was in Michigan. And I do think he can fit into that role and he can be good. So I wanted it to be Quentin Johnston because he was free and Ladd McConkey was more expensive, but you ain't heard a damn word about him. QJ has fun. Bye. Treylon Burks. What was N'Keal Harry?
When you go to X and like you type in a GIF, like the most perfect one is you type in Butterfingers, and it's literally a guy with a stick of butter on all 10 fingers, and they're throwing a football at him. And that is the image that I always get with your boy Quentin Johnston.
Not my boy. Not my boy. I just like him because he was free.
You own the rights to Quentin Johnston.
Don't you fucking dare put that juju on me.
But I do like Ladd McConkey.
Yeah, you have to.
Feels like a hardball guy.
Going to be?
Well, I do like Josh Palmer. I'm not even gonna trip. I think again they're gonna, even if they throw the ball, they don't. they're going to throw the ball 500 times. 500 times. 500. And I want to give a shout out. I'm not going to spoil the take, but you should go listen to the previous Mind of Mansion with the Podfather and Justin Boone. Justin Boone, great guest, great seasonal guy, does a lot of best ball stuff. The Podfather had a take on Ladd McConkey that will curl your hair. It is something. I will say this. I was a little disappointed. They were talking about the 8 tight ends that they felt like you had to draft, and if you didn't draft those 8 tight ends, then it was good to draft Brock Bowers. I had no problem with that. The problem I had is that Evan Ingram was not in those 8 tight ends. But anyway, go back. I think it was an oversight. I think Evan Ingram's is so overlooked, especially in seasonal leagues, that he should be a target for every member of this audience if you're doing the draft kit. He was actually, I did him in the draft kit last year. All right, so we like Ladd McConkey. I got 2 more, and then we'll do a little nonsense and get out of here. I put these 2 guys together because they were teammates together at Ohio State. And it is Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. For me, Jerry, it's put up or shut up time, buddy. So
I don't think I have a different opinion. Because here's the thing, and this is what we said before we hit record, Randy, and I think you were spot on. Either they're going to hit, and they're going to be CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Puka Nacua. They're going to be in that tier. Or, who'd you say? Terry McLaurin and DK Metcalf.
Yeah, guys that after their first couple of years, I wanted to put Terry in my top 12. DK was in my top 12.
Yeah.
But it's that consistent, sometimes, Ric Flair put it best. I don't have the Ric Flair sounder up or I'd play it, but he said to be the man, you got to beat the man. And it's time for Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson to be the man. I don't think Derek Carr's a great quarterback, but I think he can get the ball to Chris Olave. But now he's got the offensive coordinator that I like. Garrett Wilson has gotten the volume and the targets. Now he's got a quarterback that I like. So one guy improved with the offensive coordinator, one guy improved with his quarterback play. If these guys, is top 8 fair? Is that too much pressure to say they've got to finish top 8 to be valued where they're being valued?
I mean, in most people's dynasty rankings, are they not damn near close to the top 8?
I think I had Wilson 6 and Olave 9. Pause.
That's what I mean. They have their own special little tier, and it's just for, we haven't actually done it, but we were drafted super high in your rookie drafts, and we've shown enough. You've got those top couple of guys who are absolute demons and have absolutely helped you win championships. And then the guys after that, who have been in the league for a few years longer, have always just been good. The DKs, the Terrys, the DJ Moores, we'll get you 1,100 yards. Every once in a while, we'll get you 1,300 yards. And then there's that special tier. And it's Garrett Wilson, it's Chris Olave, it's Marvin Harrison Jr., and it's Malik Neighbors. And it's we got drafted early. And we have all the promise in the world, but we haven't done it yet. And you're either going to move up or you're going to move down. That range is reserved for the potential, the elite young potential every single year. It's their time. Either you, like you said, either you put up or you shut up, brothers.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. And just the way math works, the odds are one's going to hit and one's not. And I think Garrett Wilson will be the hit, especially if Aaron Rodgers stays, injury-free for the season. As much as I like Chris Olave and I think the Clint Kubiak offense will be good, I don't think it'll be that good. So it's going to be interesting to see. I will tell you this, kids. If Chris Olave is trending toward another wide receiver 15 season, and you can still get wide receiver 8 to 10 prices for him, sell. Because what's the NCAA going to give us, Jerry?
A ton more wide receivers.
They're going to give us 5 to 6 top 40 pick wide receivers again next year.
And I'm not going to know how to pronounce at least a couple of their names.
And we've already got I got neighbors higher than you, but we've got neighbors high. We got Marvin Harrison. We know there's probably going to be a Brian Thomas, a Xavier Worthy, a Lad McConkey are going to take a big step. They're going to push these guys down. So I will tell you, not only Olave, but Garrett Wilson, if you're not seeing it, and then gang, if I got to tell you what it is, you're in the wrong hobby. So if you're not seeing it by week 7, 8, and you can still get wide receiver 6, 8, 9, 10 prices, cash those chips, move on to the next one. Last guy, I don't have to tell you where I'm at with him. I'm actually using this as a segue to next week's show. Bo Nix, Jerry, name the starter, kind of a formality. Dude, that guy's looked sensational this offseason. Thoughts?
He's looked good. I mean, there's nothing really else I could say about it. He has looked good, Randy. And until it looks otherwise, I can't not believe it. Like, yeah, it's the preseason. Yeah, he hasn't played tons of starters. And yeah. But listen, I know he's old. I know he wasn't great at his time at Auburn. But then he got an offense that is very conducive to teaching people how to be productive offensively at Oregon. And he was awesome. And now he's looking pretty good. So, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say he's a hit yet because he could Zach Wilson me. But for now, you're happy if you got Bo Nix because there's a chance you got Bo Nix in the second round of a Superflex league. Like, not even a chance. You probably did get Bo Nix. 110 may be the earliest that somebody took him.
A lot of 110 Bo Nix out there.
That's what I'm saying. 110 to like 203 Bo Nixes. You're thrilled. You're absolutely thrilled that you got a starting quarterback immediately for such a late round pick.
And a thrilled returning customer is Harry Snowman. He has been with us. He not only with us, but he is one of the most loyal supporters of Player Profiler, especially in these YouTube streets. But Harry's been with us. I've been all over Bo Nix the entire time. And I will just say this. To me, he's clearly going to be a hit. And he is going to be on he's going to be one of my hot takes on next week's seasonal hot take show. Because it's the last non-regular season week. Yeah, my hot take this year, I have a couple. One of my hot takes is going to be on Mr. Bo Nix. I'm 100% in on Bo Nix. Same thing I said during the draft season. It's the Bill Parcells rules. Yeah, he's 24, but so is Jaden Daniels. Actually, I think he's a hair younger. I think he's 23. But that's okay. Quarterbacks can play until they're 35. And I was having this conversation with our buddy Tyler Gunther from the Dynasty Happy Hour. I was like, if there's a guy in this class that can give you Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins level production, and when I say those names, you're like, oh, those are boring names. Well, that's true, but what do Kirk Cousins and Jared Goff have in common? That when they're healthy, they both land somewhere between QB 8 and QB 12 for the season. Jerry, is a top 12 quarterback a QB 1?
It is.
So you mean to tell me that we can potentially get a guy who's got QB 1 upside for the cost of a QB 2? In my wheelhouse every single time. So for those of you that only tune in to the show for the good stuff, like the football takes, that's over. We're going to talk a little nonsense here at the end of the show, Jerry.
Which is good. Just to circle back on the football real quick.
Sure.
You said that Brandon Ayuk and Jaden Daniels have a relationship. And I totally forgot that man played at Arizona State. So then I looked up and I was like, oh man, I wonder if he played with N'Keal Harry too. And I was going to make a joke about how N'Keal Harry has come to the league, gotten out of the league, all while the time Jaden Daniels was in college, but he wasn't. They missed by a year. I'm so sorry. But
yeah. Jaden Daniels played 6. I think it was 6 years. You know, that COVID extension really bought him some spare time.
Got him some money. Good for him.
Hey, I'm not going to spoil my research into my Bo Nix takers. I could really hit you with I want to hit you with those next week, Jerry. Let's talk poker rooms.
Okay.
I got to travel again for work.
Yeah. Oh no, I got to go to Vegas. Poor guy.
I'm going to miss the first Monday night of Monday Night Football.
Yeah, that sucks. I'll give you that.
I'm going to be on a plane. Like who books a flight on Monday night? I mean,
only not football people.
We could literally have traveled like at noon. Could have flown into Vegas at noon, which means you get there like at 1 p.m., 2 p.m. Vegas time because you get the time shift because you're picking up 2 hours going from Indiana to Las Vegas. But now we're staying at Resorts World, so a great hotel. Poker rooms, Jerry. You've been checking out the poker room at the Resorts World.
I did. It looks pretty. I'm excited for you. A little bit of jealousy. It's funny because I actually just looked up tournaments in the area. There's one in October, which I guess is like 2 months away now. The Mid-Stakes Poker Tour at Riverside Casino in Riverside, Iowa, which is out by where the Hawkeyes play. I went the last time it was in town. It's like a 2-hour drive, which sucks. Because if you've ever driven anywhere in Iowa, it sucks. Oh my God, it's so boring everywhere. But there's no traffic, which is the plus side. So I'm excited for you. When was the last time you went to Vegas? I haven't been
last year,
like 5 years. Oh, that's right. You went.
We went last year. Yeah, we took my son Vinny and his friend Jake, and we stayed at a non casino hotel. Now it was literally right next door to Resorts World, so I walked over there just to get some cards in. I would say that if you go back to play at the place, I would just get like a cheap hotel. You know, like pay for it in advance. This way, like you don't go bust. But like this way, you can tell the missus, hey, I'm going to play in this poker tournament. When I get done, I'm going to play in a cash game for a while. I'm probably going to be a complete degen. And
she knows I'm a degen. That's why every time like I say, and this is for everyone, poker's different, right? Because if you're going to play, it's usually hours. Like I can't go to a casino for an hour. Like I'm not wasting my time.
I mean, but by the time you park, walk inside, even like there's a horseshoe casino not down the road. It's like 40 minutes away. It's listed as Horseshoe Indianapolis. It's not, it's in the next county, but that's fine. It's 40 minutes away. But by the time I drive there, I, park and then walk all the way in. And then the poker room is always in the back, hidden in the back. Cause you got to walk by every slot machine, every craps table, everything. And they make it real hard that if you come out winners of the poker room for you to go home with all that cash. But yeah, you can't go. I will not do any tournaments in Vegas because it's just like too much time. Like you get like stuck in one of those nightly. It's like I told on the Patreon podcast over at patreon.com/Dynasty Warzone. Like I was mentioning on there's some big wigs from the company going. So, not only do I have to be on my best behavior, but I'll be happy to probably get like an hour or two a night.
Which is fair. The last time I went, like I went with a couple of my friends and Mrs. Jerry, and she had never been to Vegas with me. And so, she's there to like party and we're having a good time. And when I go to Vegas, like I'm going casino to casino to casino. Like the time I went to Vegas before I went with her, I didn't drink one drink the whole time I was there for like 4 days because I just played. It was like a poker holiday with me and one of my buddies. But that's what I tell people every time, like, because there's a casino that's right down the road from my work. I haven't gone there yet because they're always like, well, let's go. No, I'm not a fun person to go to a casino with because I'm going to go to the poker room and I'm going to be there for 6 hours. And you are already going to be done with your blackjack and you've lost your money or roulette or craps or whatever the hell you're doing. And you're ready to go home. And Jerry has already donked off half of his stack and he's got to try and recoup it because 7-9 of spades just did not help him out. So he's got to try and get that back. So we're staying. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, as a younger man, like in Vegas, I was a gremlin. Like don't feed him after midnight. Don't give him water. I was a gremlin. Like my wife, similar to yours, like we wanted to go out. She wanted to like, go to the clubs and, the parties and we did. That was great. But like we get back like at 4 a.m. to the hotel room. And dude, I'd be up at 7. I'm like, hey, are you good? You want to go get some breakfast or no? She's like, just let me sleep. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go downstairs for a little bit. Like I got 3 hours sleep, been drinking all night, smell like booze and cologne and God knows what else. And I'm down there, dude. That Memphis can't show up this time to Las Vegas.
No, and
my plan is to sneak down and maybe get like a couple of hours from 9 to 11, because these guys won't get up super early. But yeah, that's poker's one of my hobbies. As my son's getting ready to graduate high school and go off to college, my wife's like, you need some hobbies that aren't poker. And I'm like, I started thinking everything that is a hobby for me is all tied to competition. It's just in my soul. Dynasty fantasy football. Why do I like it so much? I want to prove that I know more about this game than you do. Jiu-jitsu. I want to prove that I'm tougher than you. Poker. I want to, just like Dynasty, I want to prove I'm smarter than you. Coaching. I want to help kids realize that they can win no matter what the odds are against them. It's just my DNA. I'm a competitive guy at heart.
It's fair.
Very fair. Well, let's get the hell out of here. Remember, next week is our biggest show of the year, our final non-football week of the year. We will be moving nights. I just want to give everybody a heads up. We will be moving nights. It probably won't be for a couple of weeks. Jerry's got to line up his schedule. I have to line up my schedule, but we don't want to expect you good people to come hang out with us on Sunday evenings and watch us on YouTube. If you're trying to watch football, we'll work it out. Probably going to be Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. We don't know. Podcast will still be here every week. We're not one of those dynasty shows that goes into hibernation during the regular season. We'll come up with some new segments. We'll talk trades. We'll make the show fun. Good people, bad tweets in full effect. But Jerry, make sure for next week you have your hottest takes.
Oh,
homework assignment.
I didn't have to do any homework for this one. So
this one's
only fair. It's only fair. I didn't do any homework for this
notice.
episode. I can do next week's.
The listener heard you have a week's notice to get your shit together. But until next week, and when Jerry has his shit together, his name's Jerry. You can follow him at JerrySendDWZ. You can follow me at DWZ Memphis. We'll be back next week talking the hottest takes of the Dynasty season. But until then, thanks for tuning in. Have a great week.
Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.